Hello, people. Welcome, everyone. City Council Work Session. This is Monday, November 24th, 2025, 4:30 PM. Thomas J. Smith, Council Chambers here at City Hall, 400 Washington Street in Burlington, Iowa. As we progress tonight, first up for discussion items is Treasurer's Report. Mrs. Crowner?
Hello.
Hello. Get here and you just tear stuff up.
Did you see it? I
No
barely
wonder
touched
we can't
it.
have nice things.
So you still have two treasurer's reports in there. June's is still in there because we haven't got the official word from the auditors yet that we're through.
Okay.
So nothing's changed since last time. The other report in there is October's. And I don't see anything unusual. A lot of the things that are like on the capital projects are timing issues for our grants that we're waiting on. They're always reimbursement basis, so it takes a little while to get back our money.
I had one question.
Okay.
And I guess I've noticed it before, but never asked. Do we use PayPal a lot?
Yes.
Because I know it's
Not-
just
not-
certified for
well,
internet.
I guess let's talk about a lot, because there's a lot of things that wastewater treatment plant
Oh,
purchases
okay.
for obsolete, parts that are hard to find.
Yep.
So they buy them off of eBay and
Yeah,
they
it
use
makes sense.
PayPal.
Okay, good.
So yes.
That's good. All right. I've been noticing it on there from time to time. I was just wondering.
Yes. And it's
Council, you have any questions for Annette?
I didn't see anything that stuck out to me either.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Byrd, anything to add?
Nope, that's
Thank you
it.
very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is abandoned building program. Mr. Tislett.
Yeah, just wanted to give council a high-level overview of the abandoned building program, including the timing requirement and items that trigger a property becoming one that is considered for acquisition through 657A, or for an existing house, or through acquisition through the tax sale certificate process of vacant land. So we have those two routes to go after properties that are abandoned, that are no longer maintained by the previous owner. Both are a little unique and challenging in their own right, but I guess for 657A, that's a state code section, abandoned building, there has to be a building on the property to go through that. If it's a vacant piece of land, then we have to work directly through the county process on that. These are both timely processes, both for staff and our attorney. So we've been taking groupings of homes through the process, approximately 3 at a time for each inspector. We are looking to increase this amount over the winter, getting a little more aggressive, but still want to ensure that our staff and attorney do not get overwhelmed, which could affect the processes, because you have to hit those timings and make sure our documentation's all in order. So usually it's, for an inspector, it might be 10 to 12 a year that they're working to acquire. So we're looking to maybe over the winter acquire 10 total between the two inspectors working on that end. So just starting that process. It's a big takeaway is that we're not running out of properties to process as abandoned, which is unfortunate. That obviously would be a goal, but it's just amazing that we are acquiring properties that people have just let go for whatever reason and see no value in, and now we're having to maintain them or acquire them and try and get them in the hands of someone that will. So we have the dual purpose of eliminating blight and substandard properties through acquisition and redevelopment or maintenance, while also being aware that some properties may not have interest for acquisition, especially for vacant land. So for vacant lots, if we acquire them, you may no longer see them show up on the nuisance list if we acquire them. But if we don't sell them, we're still having that same cost. And then we may have additional liability at that point as well. So we are cognizant of that. And for vacant lots, I think especially going forward, I know we acquired quite a few 5 or 6 years ago, but going forward, trying to contact current neighbors now to see if they have interest. If we do acquire it, would they be interested in taking it on? Because if they don't, then it's still a cost of maintaining, but now it's our land and we may have some liability there. So it's just something that we're aware of and work through the process. So you may not see it if we acquire it on the nuisance list, but we are still incurring that same cost that you're not seeing. So
Good point.
I guess the positive is the number of homes and lots that we sell each year, especially this year. Been doing a little more proactive on, especially the vacant lots, of sending notices to neighbors, encourage them to submit a bid. And we, especially for vacant lots, if we've owned for more than 2 or 3 years, asking them what they're willing to pay. Maybe not that minimum 500, maybe it's 300 or 250. We're looking for around that 200 at least to cover any attorney costs for deed preparation. We've had carrying costs, but we want to get rid of that carrying cost going forward too. So, we will continue to market and notify neighbors of opportunities on that. From the memo, just to highlight some of the items on there. To acquire through 657A, we have to show that it's been abandoned for 6 months before we can even start our process. So we have to show that utilities have not been on, it's delinquent in taxes, we've had nuisance abatements on the property, all that before we even start the process to acquire through 657A, which then is an additional 4 to 6 months. So it's about a year time frame when something becomes abandoned, that we can show it's been abandoned to when we acquire it. So that's why you may see some properties, even though it's on our list or on our radar, continue to show up on nuisance lists, as it does take time to acquire that. And we have to prove that to a court. All this goes to court and is before a judge, and they have to rule on it. So we want to make sure we're following all the requirements of that state code section. After we can prove that it's been vacant or abandoned for 6 months, we send notice to the property owner, give them a timeline to address the property. Generally, most of the time, they don't even respond, but we have to do that process. And then we file with the attorney, do a lien search, notify all properties that may have any interest in the property. Anyone that has lien or right to the property, we have to send notification to, and then set up a hearing, file with the court about 4 months after posting that it's been abandoned, to set a hearing date. And then about a month after that, it's holding a hearing date with the court. And then there's a 1 month appeal period after that we can't sell it until that expires, because they could appeal that to the court. So that's kind of the very high level overview of from proving that it's abandoned for 6 months, and then to sending them notice, setting up a court hearing, notifying all interested parties, and then holding that hearing with the court, and then waiting for that appeal period. So as I mentioned, we are looking to do, we have done 6 to 12 properties over the course of a year in the past. We are looking to do 8 to 12 here over the next 3 or 4 months, starting that process. So hopefully ramping that up, but seeing as well with our attorney, can we handle that, and with our staff, so.
Eric, I guess I would have a question on that too. My concern would be, do you have enough developers? Because typically they buy one, they have to complete it before they buy another one, right?
Not necessarily, if they're making progress, if they're holding to all their timeframes, making progress.
Gotcha.
If they're asking for extensions or falling behind or not meeting some of those timelines, then we'd wait until they're completely done, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, because the question will be, is that you guys ramp up, do we have enough developers?
And some of these, we've been targeting rehab homes. There are some homes that have been on that list as well that are demo homes that we're gonna have to start acquiring as well.
Okay.
So there's a mix of these going forward. We've been targeting the rehab because we knew there was individuals interested, but I think with this larger number, it'd probably be a mix of both, so it won't
Okay.
just be all rehab homes.
Sounds good.
Just to show, I guess, some of the progress in the last few years, we sold 16 properties to date in 2025, 10 last year and 12 the year before. So that's a good number of properties that have gotten in the hands of someone that's now maintaining it. We're not having to mow or maintain the property, and for those homes, it's back on the tax rolls and had some rehab work done. So as mentioned, the vacant lot acquisition, just to touch on that, that is a redemption of tax sale certificate process. That's a little more time sensitive in how we file that, and then waiting through that process. So we generally try and do 2 to 4 of those at a time as well. So we have a few on our list right now that we're also looking at. Are there other lots that we can go through that process with? But it's kind of hitting the timelines more so than going through the court process, and it's working with the county and what those back taxes are, determining that, and making sure we follow through on their requirements for it. So I guess just with that, until we send notice to the I'm not gonna go through our list here. If you have questions or see a property that you think should be on our list, let us know, but we want to make sure we're following through our process of notifying them of it's abandoned, unsafe, and then going through that 657A process. But those properties you've noticed to staff in the last couple months, those are on our list. So it's kind of working through that list and making sure we're going through the process appropriately.
May I ask what percentage are out-of-town owners or outside the community that, do you have any idea?
I would have to look at that. I mean, the majority of them have been local owners that either passed away
Okay.
or have next of kin that have no interest in the property or went back, yeah. just-
Okay,
yeah,
that's
I
what
I
I-
wouldn't say it's a lot of out-of-town owners unless it's someone that picked up a tax sale certificate and now haven't done anything with it and we're still going after it. But
Okay, so it's primarily,
at one time, they were local owners and, yeah, just either walked away from the property completely, some passed away, and some just don't want to deal with the property anymore. And it's in such a bad condition, they don't feel they can do anything with it.
okay, thank you.
Eric, thanks. This is helpful because I do have a lot of people that ask about specific houses, and this helps that they have a timeline. My one question that's not covered on here is there's a few buildings or a few houses in town where they've been burnt. The structure's still standing,
Yep.
but they've been in that condition for quite some time. Is that, and I haven't seen any notifications on those buildings themselves, but is there a process and isn't there a state law that before the insurance pays that a percentage of that is held back for
Yeah, the
demolition?
city's owed 10% of, or $10,000, whichever is greater. A lot of them, unfortunately, that we've seen had fires do not have insurance. We did demo one last year and did a personal judgment against the property owner. So we can still, even if we don't acquire them, go through that process, and there's a couple on here. We've been waiting for insurance for quite a while to get through the process, but they are on our list there to move forward with. But sometimes it gets held up either through insurance or investigation or different things that takes a little longer, and then we have to, if we're gonna acquire it, we have to show that it's been vacant from the 6 months from that time of fire before we can even start a process, and then give them time frame to rehab it if they choose, and if they don't, then it's another 4 months before we get a court hearing. So as I mentioned, it could be about a year on some of those.
Wow. All right.
But we can push them to demolish it without acquisition. We just, if they don't do it, we bear the cost and then don't own that property, so that's always the concern.
Okay. Thank you for that. My only disappointment was, that I was thinking this was going to be a discussion on vacant buildings as well, commercial buildings. Have we got that coming up at any time, Chad?
So I think Eric can touch on this a little bit too. It is, vacant building ordinance
Yes.
is something that DPI Main Street has put as a priority, and Eric's part of the subcommittee that's working on that. So we should see something in '26, I think, in
Well, the
regards to a
city-
proposed amendment or a code or
Yeah.
ordinance for vacant buildings.
The city planner and I met last week actually on that to get something together, even outside of downtown, just as a whole, to look at and bring before council for discussion to start. Had some discussion with Fort Madison and Keokuk. They have some vacant building regulations and what the pros and cons are on that. And we're working to bring that forward, hopefully in December yet, to council to at least give some, what are some of the issues with doing this? What are some of the concerns? What are some of the positives? And just starting that process. But yeah, I think DPI is looking at a little more detail as well for downtown buildings. But there's pros and cons with it as well, based on, I guess, how much scope and staff time's a big one with that, is if we're doing inspections on all these properties, what does that look like?
And so just kind of an overarching review of that. So DPI Main Street, of course, will be concerned with any vacant downtown. Eric's department will be concerned with anything citywide, so it could be commercial or residential. But it does require, in most of the examples that we're seeing, a registration process, follow-up inspection, as Eric noted, and maybe even some type of registration fee. So those would be things that we would have to ask council, how much of an annual registration fee do you want to see? What type of inspection process or registration process do you want to see?
All right. Another thing that I had, and this is more for council to think about, was maybe, I think I'll wait and bring this up on that 1435 Tool Street, because that's what generated that thought, so I'll wait on that. I think that's all I have at this point on that one.
Okay. Anybody else?
I had two questions for Eric, and this isn't to put you on the spot, Eric, or whatever, but just as we're kind of working through this. So a lot of times we hear from residents, or we might get a call, or maybe council does, about an abandoned building or an abandoned residential structure somewhere, and what is the city doing about it? And it may be that there's an abandoned building out there somewhere that's not on a list, just simply because the staff hasn't gotten to it yet. It's recently abandoned, or it was recently brought to our attention. So it could take a while to even get on the list.
Yeah.
Eric, you want to talk about that process maybe just a little bit, or?
Well, a lot of them are identified through our nuisance inspectors. They, just like you guys are seeing those costs come through, they're aware of them as well. But as I mentioned before, we have a list that is more than we can get through in any particular time, but residents can see those tags and may give us a call. They're welcome to give us a call, and they may be on our list, but I guess this list is kind of ever-changing and growing, and as I mentioned before, getting through 3 to 6 at a time. We have a lot of properties that are on that may take some time to get through, but I guess specifically, if anyone has a question, they can reach out to us and we can let them know. We had, I just had someone email recently about a property that is on our list, but knowing it's gonna take that long, they asked, could they reach out to the bank if there's a bank or the individual, and they wanna try and do that ahead of us. That takes us out of the process, so.
All good.
That would be great.
And then Eric, you might talk a little bit about, so in the 657A, for example, it could take up to a year, and there's certain criteria you have to go through. What would be a situation, or have you encountered examples where that clock gets reset? A property owner does show up, somebody all of a sudden moves into the home or anything like that?
We've had some, generally, most people don't show up for court, but if they do, we've had some reset where they said they were gonna rehab it. They asked the court for more time. They applied for a building permit, but then it just got left open indefinitely, and now it completely restarted the process, because I think that was a learning experience at that time of the court didn't set a date for rehab to start or finish. And I think it was a couple years later, we had to refile. There's one on South Sixth that we had to do that. An individual vacated the house, squatted in the garage, and that said he was living there. It was no longer vacant, and that started the process. So there's different things like that that can occur, or they may try and get a building permit knowing they're not gonna do anything, and that kind of stops the process sometimes. So trying to get as much info up front and make sure we have all our information together helps.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
Hey, one other thing, John. When, I often have doubts about houses that can be rehabbed. And I drove by Ninth in Angular, and I take that route quite often. There's a house on the northeast corner that the front porch is just literally falling off of it. And
Not
I drove by
today.
there the other day, and there's a brand-new porch. And it makes a world of difference in that property, just that, the peeling paint and everything else now is just peeling paint. It's not a structural issue like it was for me when I drove by it before, so I do feel more confident that there's some redeeming value in some of these properties that I didn't feel there was before.
I agree. I drove by and I wanted to get out of my car and give them standing ovation just to see someone working on it. So, I mean, and we see examples of that all the time. There have been a couple that some of our developers have purchased. I would have bet you $1 million that it wasn't gonna look like it did when they were done. And the greatest thing in the world, we get credit for it, but it's thanks to your department's, Eric's hard work. But to have neighbors call and thank you. Thanks for the city addressing this property, and it went from being one of the worst homes in the block to one of the better ones. That's a win all day long. So if my concern would be, that's what I brought up earlier, if 6 to 12 is what it takes to do it and do it right, that's fine. Let's just keep the pressure on, so.
Yeah, and I will say, and we hear different things on how much we sell them for. Some of those homes, it's not worth $500, but they have to put in $20,000 to $50,000 of money just to get it back in
Yeah.
good. And they couldn't buy a property on the open market for 30 to 50 and then put another 30 to 50 in it and make money back. So it is a good resource for our community to have these rehabbed. And we do communicate with some of the contractors, developers that have had interest in the past and ask if we see issues, is this something you'd be interested in? We always try and market it first to rehab, because that brings tax dollars back and puts a new home relative in our community versus just tearing it down. So that's always the kind of first option, is look at, can it be rehabbed, and are there people willing to do that rehab? And then if not, then we'll explore demolition after that.
Any other questions, gang? Great job, Eric. Budget calendar, Mr. Byrd? Or is that staff?
Stephanie's coming up with that one. There is a budget calendar. It's that time of joyous season when we get into budget season. So Stephanie will go through that calendar for the next couple of months.
So, yeah, in your packet was the budget calendar for FY '27. We're going to start working on that next week, meeting with department heads and starting to crunch the numbers. We do have it scheduled to do the all-day budget session with the council on January 21st. It's a Wednesday, 8:30 to 4, if that works. It's about the same time we did it last year. It was a Wednesday also. So if for some reason that date's not gonna work, if you guys could let Chad know and we can look at,
Now rather than later.
yeah, we don't really wanna wait, so. But we'll do that process again like we've done in the past. Everybody will present that day. And then on the following work session on January 26th, we can have any wrap-up final budget discussions then. And then the rest of the calendar just goes through all the deadlines we have to meet and the publishing, and then it has to be filed by April 30th. There's no changes in the deadlines, so the process is pretty much the same, but we do have to do those separate meetings and
Someone will
start.
let Annie and Robert know about the 21st.
Yeah,
I'll
Yes.
reach out to them.
Okay,
They're on our
Okay.
email list.
Oh, they are,
so,
okay, good.
Yep.
okay.
does anybody have any questions?
No, not really.
No, you want to keep it the same, how we've been doing it?
Yeah, I mean, I already put it in my calendar, but I'd let everybody else weigh in. Is that all right with you, Kay, as far as you can tell? Tim?
I'll make it work.
Okay, Linda? Well, you guys, you want to be
Be
here?
here, but
She's
the other
getting me.
two work full-time, so you're gonna make sure.
Yeah,
it works
no,
for
I,
them.
Robert, I think that's his day off on Wednesdays. That's what, because he was on it
Used to
when we
be.
first started doing it. So I'll ask, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
Thanks, Stephanie.
All right. Fire Station 3 update, Chief Toops.
Good afternoon, council. Eric, you got a point? Well, in an effort to keep the ball rolling and keep updates flowing, I'm here tonight to give you a 10 or so slide update on Station 3 with the hopes to going to the work session meeting on December 8th with a couple additional items on the agenda with Klingner and Canco, Carl A. Nelson, with a couple professional services agreements. So tonight again, or this afternoon, I got about 10 slides to go over, and I know I get long-winded, so I'll try to stay brief and to the point tonight. So I'll get going here. And if you have any questions, please step in and ask if you got them. So, opening slide here, the first 6 points here, remember who and why. We're gonna go over the original project a little bit, the project stalled, time frame, the new project, some of the major updates that we did with the new project, and essentially where we are now. And again, that's gonna segue us hopefully into the next work session. So, who we are and what we do. So, right, wrong, or indifferent, just my status with the fire department, my position when we started this project, and where I am now. I'm confident in telling you that I have as much insight and background in this project as most. Again, and just from my positions with all of this. So I really do have a good insight. But I just wanted to remind everybody, we are the primary responders in our community. It's 365 days, 24 hours a day, right? It's nonstop. We are, you call 911, we're gonna show up always. So in 2016, we set out on a data-driven goal to get a satellite station popped up on that northwest quadrant. That was basically for faster and more efficient responses to the ambulance-related calls. We knew that calls were increasing in that area, and we wanted to respond faster. Basically, just the NFPA 4-minute response time, specifically to that area of the northwest part of the community. The second bullet point, just want to reiterate that BFD responds to a multitude of calls: fire, ambulance, hazmat, special operations, and technical rescue, all water events, ropes, confined space, etc. The multitude of responsibilities directly relates to having multiple pieces of apparatus and equipment readily available. How I started this slide and trying to tell you that I have a lot of insight with this project, in the beginning portion of our education campaign, getting the fire station going, we did a really good job telling people what we wanted to do with the ambulance and being fast. We did a great job. But where we lacked and where we didn't do a good job is telling our story of all the other things that we still have to do. So that's what these pictures are kind of trying to tell you. You see us fighting fires and training there on the top left. You see us going on ambulance calls on the top right. You see us doing the rope rescue, confined space. We have bluffs, grain bin rescues. We are the only service in our county that can provide that type of service. So, of course, we live next to the river. We're going out on the water. And of course, we have, as the season approaches, cold weather, we have a lot of frozen lakes, ponds and such with a lot of ice fishermen. We are the people that are going to show up in these events. And in the beginning, we did a really good job of telling people that we want to be fast on our ambulances. But again, we didn't do a good enough job telling people, well, that ambulance crew still has to do a lot of other things, and this is some of those things. So tonight, I'm trying to make up for that, if you will. But to that point, and ending this slide, that third bullet point, we are your emergency responders that are cross-trained and expected to respond to all these types of calls, always, all the time. So this was the original mapping too when we kicked off the projects. The black dots are outside that 4-minute response time that I mentioned earlier from station 1 and 2. The current satellite station, we moved out to the 3400 Mount Pleasant. It was a satellite station, never meant to be permanent. It was just there to get the data going, provide better service, be faster in that quadrant. But again, it was never meant to be permanent, and it doesn't allow for all of that equipment and staffing and overall response that I just mentioned in the slide previous. Throughout our campaign and the project, we started receiving questions as to, well, why does the station look like this? Why is there such amount of bays? Why is there such amount of bunks? Why is there this footprint and not this footprint? Or why is there this exterior? Again, there was reasoning for it, and we just didn't do a good enough job then, but we're going to do it now. So in the beginning, the goal was to educate all stakeholders on our services and get a vote, a yes vote on building a new fire station. That would allow BFD to properly respond to EMS, fire, hazmat, special ops. We needed a successful referendum of 60% or higher yes vote, not to exceed $7 million in bonding. And happy to say that we got that referendum passed with a 71.1% yes support vote. The project committee designed the station to provide for our services, all of those services I've already mentioned. One big question that came up repeatedly was, why did it have to be a 2-acre lot? Well, we knew with all the stuff that we do, the 19 different hats we wear and all the different services we provided, we needed space. We needed space for equipment. Again, we're cross-trained. They have to be able to go out on different calls all the time. Another important reason for the 2-acre lot is in preparation for the ISO score. It's mandatory if you're going to have a training tower and get the points on your ISO score, it has to be on 2 acres. So it's just mandatory. That's the rule. And again, it was data-driven. We built the building, the original project, where it is with what it was going to be, balanced with the call volume and the location identification, that northwest quadrant. So this is how we felt. That's not one of my firefighters, but that's sure how we felt when the project stalled. These are just sky level notes. But the project was designed and bids were sent out. Returned bids came in over $7 million. It was approximately 7.1. So the project paused. Committee reevaluated everything to date. We reprioritized the entire scope, the original project, and the committee indefinitely paused the project and terminated the contract with the original construction manager and design agency at the time. So we continued to see how we could keep the project rolling. We reached out to Carl A. and we asked them to provide a feasibility study for 2 different options. Option 1 was a feasibility study to collaborate with West Burlington. Option 2 is a feasibility study to restart the station project at the Roosevelt location with 2 primary objectives. So I'm going to go back one step. Option 1, what did we do with Canco and West Burlington? We invited Canco out to Station 2. They toured our site. They asked us what was our major priorities, what we needed to reduce from the original project, and what was necessary to keep it going. We also went out to West Burlington's fire station and toured their building with West Burlington staff, and again, did all the same things. Looked over the entire footprint, spacing, size, staffing, equipment, all of it. So back to option 2. Is it feasible to restart the project at Roosevelt location with 2 objectives? The 2 objectives were to combine our current Summer Street station or Station 2 footprint, general layout, with what we had built with the original project, and then to also come within the specified budget, under budget that is. So option 1, we did all that with Canco. It was not recommended, and we didn't pursue that option. Option number 2, Canco said this is your best option, most feasible, most efficient. This is what we recommend, and we continued to talk with Canco and pursued it further, and to see what they would build for us and design for us. So here's kind of where it starts getting exciting for myself personally. I tried to do my best with comparing some aerial views, and I know that's not easy, so stick with me if you would on trying to show you the main differences here. They both have different illustrations, of course. So I'll use my red dot here. Here's the original project. It was 37,000. That's not right. 30. Oh, the paving itself was 37,399 square foot. Carl A. Nelson reduced it down to roughly 19,400 square foot. Some of the main points that they did was the entire footprint, the entire building was moved toward the west, toward the frontage road. So if you look over here to the new layout, we took about 20 feet off of that, which reduced a lot of pavement. If you look to the parking lot right here, a lot of this parking lot was designed with ordinances in mind, so they're very similar, but we did shrink it down. But you can see right here, we tightened this turn radius and this turn radius. We just tightened it all up and shrunk it down. You can clearly see that this area to the north, that whole drive and pavement area, has been cut off. It no longer exists. But you can see on the GIS drawing here, the aerial view, here's the corner of the lot, and here's the corner of the lot, the same corner of the lot. You can see how much we've taken all of that off. So, the difference so far is approximately 18,000 square foot less, which is a good, it's good. We cut a lot of things off, we reduced it, scoped it down. So there's the preparation for the training tower and the adjacent pavement. Well, here's the same thing. Here's the training tower and adjacent pavement. But this is not, I red boxed that because it's actually not included in any of this. That's just for future preparation, okay? The 18,000 square foot, this isn't a part of any of that, okay?
Chief, remind me, Mr. Bird, Chief, we did discuss putting that on the CIP for down the road.
It is in the.
It is,
CIP.
that's what I
Yep.
thought, yes.
Yep.
Okay, sorry to interrupt.
But as I close this slide out and move on to the next, I hope you can just see the overall layout of the lot, how it's been condensed down. It's just been significantly reduced, so. And again, well, I'll talk about it here, but here's a comparison of the floor plans. To our left here is the original project. To the right is where we're at now. Again, Canco did really everything we asked them to do. We said, take our current Station 2 and try to emulate it as much as possible with, of course, there's some changes and some updates. But if you know anything about Station 2, like I do, it is very similar, very, very similar. So, continues to be a 3-bay. We felt that was important. But again, we condensed everything down. So the original was 14,400 square foot. We got it down to 9,000 roughly. The app bay was originally 5,850 square foot. We got it down to 3,600. And the interior spacing was originally 8,550. We got it down to 5,400. So there's the differences you see in the red on the bottom right. It's just a significant amount of reductions in square footage. So, anybody have any questions with that? Okay. So again, we just reduced the overall station square footage, and that really came with the width of the apparatus bay, the reduction in combined interior spacings. We prioritized efficient and fast out corridors. And Canco, they asked me to use the word simplistic mechanical systems, simplistic, not residential. But when we reduced it all down, that's what it allowed for. It just allowed for more, less expensive mechanical simplistic systems to provide service for the building. Again, we reduced the entire exterior footprint, relocated the entire building closer to the frontage road, reduced adjacent pavements, tightened the adjacent turning radiuses and landscape areas, and took out training tower foundations and adjacent pavement and infrastructure. We continued to prioritize the following: apparatus bay, 3 bays, living spaces, 5 bunks, a community and training room, efficient and fast response corridors, preparedness for training and growth, and again, we balanced the new project and building with understanding Station 2's current efficiencies and its Station 2 square footage. So Station 2 is a really good building. It's still providing a lot of good service for the community. So here's where we are now. Canco did get two draft copies of some professional service agreements, one from Klinger, one from Canco. It came to us late last week, and we thought rather than rushing it, we wanted to get our eyes on it, review it, have legal look at it, and just review it in general. And hopefully we can prepare to have Canco and Klinger, along with myself, present that at the December 8th work session. So we're working on that. We're reviewing that. That's the goal. But if approved, then these are the next steps. They're ready for design and pre-construction services, bid solicitation and project procurement, contracting the equipment and materials needed, and construction start in summer of 2026. That seems fast, but here's why. A lot of the work's been done. Land surveying, topography, land's purchased, and Canco has really they've taken the Station 2 idea and ran with what exists there and with the existing project and made it what it is today. So we're really happy. We're really happy. You'll notice tonight I didn't give you any dollar amounts because that's coming on December 8th. We have essentially from Canco, a binder, which is a conceptual design report. That is a living document. It changes. It's already changed, but working off of this, they know what we're building, and when we go to design it, hopefully, if approved, there's not much discussion. The designer is going to design what we tell them to design now. So it's all right here. So that concludes my update tonight. Forward momentum is how I like to put it. A lot of energy still there. Still excited. We know the community is still asking questions. Hopefully that gives them some answers leading into the next couple weeks. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I have a question about the decontamination area. Is that still included in the new plan?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yeah, I'll go back to that slide. It still is. If you bear with me, here was the previous decontamination area, hot zone, if you want to call it that.
Right.
And now it's essentially still out here in the main bay, and then in these adjacent restrooms, and this is the locker bay. So, yep, it's still pretty important that our gear is not being brought into the living quarters of the fire
Right.
station, so.
I know, Chief, when you showed that one slide of the firefighter like that, that was me for a while, but I'm still excited, and I'm pumped that we're gonna get this project across the finish line. But is there one thing that you had to sacrifice in the new plans, that if you had the resources, you would definitely add it back? Is there one thing that you wished you could have?
That's a great question. I think every firefighter would have maybe a different answer to that. We all prioritize things a little differently, but I think we've done a good enough job. Just again, I'm gonna continue to look in the positive in this. And again, Station 2, which was kind of overlooked, is still providing such an excellent service to the community. And we didn't think about that enough at the time. So Station 2, this mimicry of that's gonna provide us a lot of the good things that we're still after. Probably to answer your question, the mental health and mental well-being of the firefighters, the emergency responders that are going out on calls is still pretty important in gathering steam in the recent decade leading up to today too, and how we can de-stress them, bring them down from the nastiness. That's gone away from this one. That's gone away from this build. But we're building a fire station.
Now,
is
was
the goal.
that largely the outside area with the trees and the landscaping?
Sure, it's a lot of the cosmetic approach.
Okay.
It's no longer having bamboo sheathing and light toned colors and symphonic pleasantry sounds bouncing off the walls. No, now we're building a fire station.
Because I know that exterior component is so important. I find out if somebody's ill and you park them by a window and they're able to look outside of the exterior, it really reduces their illness time.
We're still gonna have that.
It's huge.
We're
just
still gonna
not
have
quite
that
to the
because-
level.
Yeah, just not quite to the level, but we're still gonna have that because it's still a pretty, large forestry type of lot with a lot of woods and beautiful, sites. But some of that's gone away. And to that point too, in talking with forestry or Parks and Rec, we'll probably just, we'll continue to talk with them, but it's gonna be ordinance driven, not a bunch of, an abundance of trees. It's gonna be what just needs to be done. So beautifully, of course, but
Well, hopefully we'll get you there.
yeah. Appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
Anybody else? Any questions, thoughts? Made me smile. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If you think of any questions, by all means, let me know.
Thank you, Chief. Good job.
Yep.
Board and commission reports. Tim, start with you. You have anything?
No, I do.
Okay, Linda?
I do not.
3 for 3. I don't have anything today. Okay, all right. End of the month is always a little tougher. We'll move on to the proposed regular agenda for December 1st, 2025. First, we have a proclamation for Human Rights Day. The proclamation's in the packet there, if anybody has any concerns.
Yes, John.
Yeah, go ahead.
The fourth paragraph seems to be more political than it is a proclamation. It's kind of a downer, if you ask me. And I would like to see, actually like to see that stricken. And
I'll look at, I think this came as a template to the Human Rights Commission, and they did recommend approval. So I'll go back and look at the minutes, and Stephanie serves as our staff liaison to that commission, so I'll go back and look at the template on that.
I looked at several of them online, and I don't want to say they were generic, but they were more to the point about equal rights for all, and supporting human rights. But I didn't see any, not another one that had anything to do with
State level protection.
politicizing what the state had done within the proclamation.
Noted, we'll get with Human Rights and have Steph check with them, and then Steph, Chad, and I will get together on it.
I don't have any issue with it. I mean, it's a true fact.
Well, but it's also politicizing a proclamation, which is supposed to build people up, not tear down another group. And that's what I'm seeing that as.
So if we left out the
Paragraph four.
things, not the whole paragraph, but just
State level
the,
protection.
the statement between the comments, would that make,
In the year that the state levels protections of certain groups have been narrowed,
yeah, just
yeah,
leave that
if
part
that was
out.
gone, then the rest of it makes sense.
Okay, gang, we have a Human Rights Commission for a reason.
I know.
I'd like to kick this back to them.
Yes.
And they have Steph work with them, and I'll get you one for you all to look at, rather than us edit it here. Okay? That's what we
But
typically use our
I
commissions
just
for that.
want to clarify
Yeah.
for myself what Tim was
Okay.
saying, that he said it's important to advance human rights, so
Yeah.
if we take that paragraph out, that won't say that.
Well, we'll have Human Rights take a look at it, but I agree, it was a template, so we can definitely edit it. We'll let them give us some recommendations to go from there. But I will make sure you guys all see it before it's there,
Sounds good.
okay? Next up is a public hearing, that's consideration of sale of property locally known as 1435 Toole Street, City of Burlington, Iowa, with conditions. Eric, please carry on. Got no drink.
1435 Toole Street, trying to switch back here. Located at the corner of Toole and Oak Street. It is a 1.5-story, single-family home with 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, total of 1,200 square feet of living space. Does require plumbing upgrades, electrical, HVAC, repair and replace windows as necessary, replace sidewalk as necessary, scrape and paint exterior or replace with siding, and repair the concrete parking in the back. Does have a second story, partial second story. It does not meet code to be classified for rental purposes as a bedroom, so that's why it's classified as a 1-bedroom currently. This is the property here, and location just off of Osborne on Toole and Oak Street.
So it's been out there, do we have any bids on it
We
yet?
currently have 1 bid
Okay.
for it, yep.
Tim, you had a
Eric, what's
question?
the square footage on that lot, you recall?
I believe it's a 40 by 100 and some foot lot. 117, probably by 40. Maybe it's 35, I'd have to double check that. Take it just a second and then I'll pull up here. 40 by 120 is what the county says.
So if that house were gone, you wouldn't be able to build on that?
Any under our zoning code, any platted lot of record is able to be built upon. For a 40-foot lot, it's 4-foot side setbacks. Someone could build on it, it'd be rather small, but our code does allow any legal platted lot of record, which this is, can be rebuilt on.
Okay. What I wanted to bring up to the council on this was that, and I brought this up before, that rehabbing a home in a neighborhood may not do as much for it as making more room in a neighborhood. And that would make more sense if we were looking at 1433 or 23, whatever that is.
29.
The one next door to it. Yeah, if that were the property in question, it would make more sense. But I brought this up when we done the property on Cleveland Street, where there was no front yard, no backyard, and I feel that if we look at these on an individual basis before, as part of the thought process, what's going to benefit the neighborhood more, not the city's pocketbook, but what's going to benefit the neighborhood more is larger lots for neighbors or a rehabbed home that's going to look much better than what it does now and much better than what most of the houses in the neighborhood look like. So, and there's no doubt that house can be rehabbed. That's not a point that I'm making. The tree out front scares me a little bit, but that's on city property. Anyway, that's the only point I wanted to make. If that was a newly platted neighborhood, that house could not be there.
No, probably now it would be.
No. I agree with Tim. There's not a lot of demand for a 1,200 square foot home, 1 bedroom. So if we can open it up, I think it would make our town, improve our town.
Sorry, I disagree.
That's okay.
Because a single person might be the perfect size for them. So, it's got a decent yard there to it, and, it can be rehabbed and well done. Personally, if you told me I could buy a house without a yard, I'd be thrilled. I don't want to do the yard work. So it depends on the individual. If the main thing is will it become a worthwhile project? And for me, anyway. And so if we have credible developers that are bidding on it, even if it's someone we don't know, the city follows through on it, and we end up with a property that better than a vacant lot, because if you look around in there's a couple of holes in the neighborhood right now. So I'm fine with that on this particular property, but I would agree on some properties that might be something we should look at.
That's why I said if we could
Sure.
look at them on an individual basis.
Yeah.
This one has a pretty large backyard. Isn't that?
Yeah, and this,
Yeah, he's just
only
saying
using the neighborhood
properties,
as an
period.
example,
Yeah.
not this particular property, but
Yeah.
Okay.
again, looking at all the neighborhoods, I mean, even with it being on a corner lot, that would really make me think twice about removing it. Just because of the two frontages and the additional right-of-way that's usable by that person to an extent. If they were to put a garage back there, they could have access to the side street.
Yep.
Or through the frontage that, for a driveway, so.
Any other-
We can talk about that more later.
Yeah, well, I think you look at it on each property, I think.
Eric has another comment.
Yeah,
I would
we're-
commend our code inspector in this area. We've had a lot of progress from a nuisance standpoint in this area due to our code inspector really being a force in this area and seeing some improvements, so I think this will just add to that as well.
That neighborhood needed it,
Yeah.
so. Any other thoughts or concerns? Moving on. Number 3 is a motion for a preliminary adoption of the second reading of an ordinance rezoning property locally located along, Sunnyside, west of Melvin Avenue, from residential zoning district to C1 limited commercial district. Jeez, I hacked that one.
No changes from previous reading, again, rezoning the existing, our former church at 3415 Sunnyside and the existing landscape business at 539 Memorial Park Road. Planning Commission recommended 4-0 to approve the request.
Any thoughts or concerns, council?
Can we move?
Yeah, I'd be good with waiving it.
Okay, everybody's in favor of waiving it. Mr. Byrd, you got that one?
Yes.
Good. Okay, and then moving on to number 4, and we'll just
Yes.
154, 155, 156, 157, 158,
I'd like to waive
59
all.
is-
59,
62.
and 62.
You have 7 code amendments.
Yeah, so-
All related
I'd
to building or residential
Do we want
codes.
to take
I'd
those
like to.
individually, or just want to go through them?
It's up to you. You might want a report from Eric. as
Eric,
to-
you want to report on any of those?
No changes from previous reading. Again, the impetus is updating to current 2024 international codes to follow the state requirements, so.
And we've discussed that last meeting in those. Chief, do you have any problems on the last one, the fire code?
They let-
And Fire Marshal
Sorry.
just left.
Fire marshal just left, I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
No, there's no difference in his update from previous weeks. As Eric's mentioned, it's really just aligning ourselves with the state and then,
It's really just housekeeping.
yeah.
Okay.
can
Is that
we
all right to address those?
waive those?
I'm good for waiving those too.
Okay, we're good for waiving the whole lot.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
You'll have to do them one at a time, but
Yeah,
I will let the
that's
city
fine.
clerk know that you'll waive and adopt.
Those would be effective January 1.
Okay, thanks.
Regardless of timing, so.
Thank you, Eric. So then we move to 11, which is a resolution approving the preliminary plat of Memorial Meadows subdivision.
Zoom in here. Talked about this a little bit last time. This went to the Planning Commission on October 28th. They recommended 3-0 with 2 abstaining, one being the developer and one working for Klingner, to approve the preliminary plat with some conditions, as noted here on the plat, that the road be paved to city standards at 27 feet, the cul-de-sac width be paved at 80 feet in diameter with a turnaround of 100-foot right-of-way. Currently shown on the plat, they have the standard 66-foot county road right-of-way, which does meet our standards. It's 6 feet wider, but they're showing a 22-foot road unpaved with a 30-foot diameter turnaround, or 60-foot diameter turnaround and a 100-foot diameter right-of-way. So the cul-de-sac paving width and the road paving width did not meet our standards, and that's what Planning Commission recommended to meet. I guess a little other background, this is in the, outside of the city limits, but within the state authorized 2-mile subdivision review area, which gives the city a role in planning and approving new subdivisions near its boundaries, which may become annexed in the future. So these areas are most likely to be annexed as growth occurs, and if roads aren't built to city standards now, it obviously is a issue down the road of trying to get that, either the developers out of the picture, its current landowners, or the city, or taxpayers bearing that cost. And then requiring those standards later is a higher cost for reconstruction, more expensive later. So this ensures safe and reliable access for emergency services, as well as meeting standards if this were to be developed or annexed in the future. Prevents creation of subdivisions that become long-term liabilities, and then creates land use and infrastructure that meets current standards. So I guess the basis for this is in our city code and our comprehensive plan. That's why we have review in the 2-mile subdivision area. Pull up again the GIS map for this area. It is one of the more near subdivision areas to our county. You can see this black line here is the city limits. So it's as close as we've had for a subdivision review in the last 5-10 years. That would make sense. We just talked about the rezoning here on Memorial Park Road in Sunnyside, just on the south side of this, and have some new homes here. There is potential for other development in this area as well. So that's the basis for the recommendation, based on location and based on our review of what makes sense for the future of this area.
Okay. Council, you have any questions? I don't have any questions. Let's get it done. Moving on to the proposed consent agenda. This will be for December 1st, 2025. Resolution for approving nuisance abatements of various properties. You can see the list there. 4 pages. Anyone, see anyone that you have a question on, see Eric, unless you have a question tonight. Okay, moving on. Number 2 is a resolution approving purchase of golf carts for Flint Hills Municipal Golf Course.
This is a budgeted item. It is in the current fiscal year 26 CIP at $100,000. It was planned for and approved through that process. We are bringing it to council based on the cost of it. It is a higher cost to replace 15 new golf cars and 1 new beverage car for Flint Hills Golf Course. Did get the Sourcewell state bid price through Yachty's Golf Course of Kelowna, Iowa. And we do have trade-ins of existing carts at just over 30,000 total between all the golf carts and the workhorse trade that allows us to replace these. And then using 5,670 of Flint Hills Golf Course fund balance, which is currently over 360,000, as we mentioned, for the roof project. So trying to maintain our current fleet in a quality manner, being efficient with those replacements, timing-wise. We are still getting some trade-in, and we're not having that maintenance on those golf carts. Usually it's about a 8-year timing. As you see, we're trading in 2018s and getting 2026s. That's been consistent for the last number of years, getting towards that 8-year time period. So with that, if there's any questions, be happy to answer.
Is the 105,670 after the trade-ins or,
Yeah, yep.
okay.
Anything else?
That's all coming out of the fund balance, right?
The 100,000 was budgeted through the CIP, and then the remaining amount, the 5,000, is out of fund balance.
Okay.
We good? Okay. Number 3, resolution approving the Iowa Department of Natural Resources Agreement for Resource Enhancement and Protection, REAP Fund project constructing a Dankworth Park Connector Trail, Phase 1.
We've applied for this and talked about this grant from Summer Street to Dankworth a number of times. Haven't been successful with some of the larger grants, the TAP grant, the state rec grants, but did have some success with the REAP grant through the DNR. This is funds in the amount of $125,000 for the project. That will not move this project forward, but can be used to leverage additional grant funds, which we'll continue to apply for. The estimate for the entire portion is $785,000. So, and we have about $150,000 local match budgeted. But this portion of funds can be used for the trail from South 14th Street to Madison Avenue. So we'll continue to pursue grants, and this award through the DNR will hopefully leverage and make us look a little more appealing to those grant reviewers, that we have more funds already coming in. So we'll continue to work on that and hopefully get this trail funded through more grant dollars.
Good work. Any thoughts or concerns, council? Moving on.
Hope we get it.
Yeah, I do too. Number 4 is resolution approving resignations and appointments for the homelessness task force. Mr. Byrd?
I would just touch on this one. This is a little bit out of the norm in terms of how these are brought forward, but there are the three resignations, their terms have actually expired and they've chosen not to renew, which is totally fine. They've served for a couple, 3 years already. And then the 3 new folks listed in the resolution are appointments. So because we have a significant number of transactions going on here, we put it in the form of a resolution, different from how we might normally appoint. So, yeah.
Okay. The only thing I'll say is I regret that we still have the need for the task force. It wasn't my intention for that to go on indefinitely, but I do appreciate Krista Polgamiller, Amanda Smalley, and Dale Allison for your your thoughts and leadership and input on this task force for the last 3 years. We're slowly making progress. Thank you. And then their applications for the new ones are in there, council, if you want to look at those. And if you have any thoughts or concerns before Monday, please let me know. Number 5 is a resolution approving a non-resident sewer connection at 657 Summer Street.
So there's a note in the packet that the resolution was not included. This one came in late, and at my request, I put it on the agenda. I had a meeting with the engineering staff Friday, I think Friday morning, regarding work at this property. It's actually Summer Street Veterinarian, 6457 Summer Street. And through some remodeling and construction of a new facility, I think, or a new building on site, they're looking for options for sanitary sewer. I don't know that the lot really allows them to put in a septic, given perk and drainage on the site, so this really seems to be the best option for them. And under city code, it does require council approval. Now, the site does have a well, and I think the water department would go ahead and meter that well, not charge for water since they're producing their own water, but then use that metered number to charge for the sewer discharge to city's sanitary sewer, so. If I missed anything, we've got knowledgeable staff here that can answer any questions, but otherwise pretty straightforward. In talking to staff, this doesn't happen very often. Once a year, maybe once every couple of years, just because the proximity of those types of structures to our system is not very common. Eric does have a quick map there too, so happy to answer any questions that I can, but otherwise pretty straightforward. It just allows them to connect to our sanitary.
Now's the time to do it.
Yep.
Is that just for the new building they're putting up, or?
Well, we are trying to figure out how to get both of them connected in there, right? And that would be a nuance that engineering would have to kind of work through with their contractor. But conversations last week were that we'd try to get both of them if we could.
I'd like to talk to you about that after.
Yeah, you bet.
Okay. Everybody good? All right, moving on. We're going to set the date for a public hearing, which will be December 15th, 2025. And that'll be a consideration of an ordinance amending various sections of Chapter 50, Public Offenses of the City of Burlington Municipal Code. Look forward to that one.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
This would be primarily our peddlers and loitering, those that might do things in the right of way, or just loiter on city or public property. Think more loitering, the ordinance is going to be heavy more on that, and it's going to give our law enforcement the opportunity to enforce some of those loitering issues that we see that they don't have today.
Fantastic. That's all I got to say about that. And then future discussion, didn't Sarah just give us an airport update?
She did, but that was just on Contour Air.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is
This is her
overall.
actual
Okay.
annual report. And she'll also touch on, at this time, her CIP as well.
Okay.
Which we will incorporate. We did get that from her. We will incorporate that into the city's CIP.
Okay, that way we can keep track of what's going on.
Yes.
Okay, let's go around and get any final updates. Eric, anything from development?
Just a reminder, turkey trot on Saturday, or on Thursday, Thanksgiving morning. Maybe a cold one, but should be a good time.
29.
Gonna miss it, sorry about that. Shane, anything
I
from
signed up
Waterworks?
last week.
That's all right. Chief Schaefer.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Quick couple updates on some projects that we got going on. With the creation of our community service officer position that we were able to get up and going this past October, one of its priority among many of them was to tackle the abandoned vehicles in our city, primarily on the roadway. Then we're going to work with nuisance and kind of get into the alleyways and stuff like that. Just wanted to throw some numbers out there. Just from October to date, we've had 66 abandoned vehicles approached by the CSO position. 15 of them were towed by the police department, and 51 of them were moved by the owners. So as you can see, with proper personnel and time to do it, I think we're going to be able to do it. It's very timely with the snow coming in there. We want to get the boats, trailers, abandoned vehicles off the street. If we don't do it, and we're going to be a little bit more aggressive on abandoned vehicles, because if we don't do it now, we'll do it when they get plowed around by the Public Works Department. So, very good. CSO position has been very valuable to us to relieve some of the stress with the shortage of staff. Actually had some conversation of maybe expanding that to a second full-time position. The other thing is quick update on the Urban Deer Management Program that runs from September 15th through January 10th. To date, we've had 33 deer harvested. It goes through January 10th, like I said. Our intention is in February is to have a lieutenant Tripp come up here, provide a full detail and scope of how the program's working, and to see if we need to make any changes, but it's going really smooth. The last thing is, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, we're in almost to winter. Reminder of the snow routes. If you're 2 inches of snow, or if it's declared by the city manager or public works director, get your vehicles off the snow routes. We will, like I said, be more aggressive this year, because if we leave them there, it's just going to create us more work at the end. So please move your vehicles when there's 2 inches of snow or it's declared as a snow emergency. So
Outstanding, Chief. Great job on getting those abandoned vehicles out of there.
there's
Outstanding.
plenty more out there, so we're working through the.
I wasn't going to try to interrupt you because you were rolling, but outstanding.
All right, thank you.
You have our thanks.
66.
Yes.
That's,
You hot diggity dog.
In 2 months.
yeah,
That's awesome.
That's a lot of cars.
that's one a day,
That's a lot of cars hanging around.
yeah.
Just want to extend an invitation tomorrow at 2 p.m. at the Central Fire Station, where we're hosting our swearing in and promotion ceremony of 6 individuals. 6 individuals that are being promoted to new leadership positions. So it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people in one ceremony. We're not coming up here because I hope that they bring all their family and loved ones there. But again, tomorrow 2 p.m. You're all welcome. and
I'll see you
invited
there.
to attend. Thanks.
Thank you. Jesse, Public Works?
Just wanted to give an update on a project. Isn't ours, but I know people have been wondering about it, and I've talked to the
What project would that be?
the Highway 61 mill and resurfacing project over 34 there. I did talk to their supervisor last week, and the intention is they're almost done with everything this week, but they'll have a couple days next week to get things cleaned up and out of there. But the expectation is at the end of the week following Thanksgiving, that'll be back open. One thing we have been looking at, through conversation with the DOT and some other folks, is some changes to the signal system up and down the corridor. We'll be putting out a notice next week that kind of outlines some of those, but to cover the highlights, the intersections of West Avenue and Mason Road are no longer going to have the permissive left turn. So what that means is you're no longer during peak hours going to have the opportunity to turn left on a flashing yellow. That's going away mainly because when we were looking into some of the safety issues around those 2 intersections, a lot of the incidents we're experiencing are because people are trying to shoot those gaps and people are coming from the north or the south too fast. And just coming through town and those increased speeds is causing us some issues there. So as a safety precaution, we're gonna try that, see how it goes. The other thing we'll be introducing is lagging left turns, which essentially it's not gonna happen for every intersection, but typically you'll see your left turn come on first in the sequence of the intersection. To kind of give more preference to through traffic and some of the spacings, on certain intersections, that left turn will come at the end of the cycle as opposed to at the beginning. It should keep people moving north-south and decrease the amount of stop-and-go traffic through 61. So that's the rationale for it, and like I said, we'll have a news release come out next week that details all those things we're doing there. So just wanted to let everybody know now.
Thank you, sir.
Questions on that?
Good.
Just blanket the area with information. Tim, anything from wastewater? No? Brittany, library?
We've got some adjusted hours this week at the library for the holiday, so we'll be closing at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, closed all day Thursday, and then open again 9 a.m. on Friday. The Friends of the Library have their Black Friday sale. They took a note again this year from Walmart, and they're starting on Wednesday. So from 1 to 5 p.m. on Wednesday, come on down to the library for the Friends Black Friday sale. They'll be open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Friday and Saturday as well. And those are all Footnotes quality books, so if you're looking for the gift of stories, come on down and do some shopping. These are the high quality books. Everything will be $2. And then Saturday, join us. The Bookmobile will kind of have its debut at the Lighted Holiday Parade. That starts at 5 p.m. and we'll be making our way down Jefferson to the lighting of the tree with Santa. So join us on Bundle Up. I think it's going to be chilly. Join us for that parade for a good time. That's it.
Stephanie, anything for finance? No? Mr. Byrd?
The only thing I have is also when you're down at the fire department tomorrow, there'll be a new firefighter trainee down there. You're looking at him. Not really training to be a firefighter, but I'm going to find out what's going on down there. So I'm going to spend the day with the crew, 24-hour shift, 8 to 8, starting tomorrow morning. So I'll see you down there tomorrow afternoon at some point in time.
Just a suggestion, sleep with your shoes on.
Yeah.
We'll see you on Wednesday when you're weary.
Yeah.
Tim, anything tonight?
Yeah, Wreaths Across America, if you haven't heard about that, it's an effort by KCPS Radio to put wreaths on veterans' graves. A wreath costs $17, which is a pretty reasonable price. You can get discounts if you buy multiples. If you want more information, you can go to KCPS Radio's website, and they've got a deal where you can click on if you want to make a donation, or if you want to volunteer to help put out the 4,800 wreaths that will be going out in Des Moines County, in Des Moines County on December 13th. There's a place where you can volunteer also. So it's a wonderful program, and it's grown tremendously last year and then again this year. And I can't remember, I think it's nine
Cemeteries.
cemeteries this year, so it's pretty good deal. And Aspen Grove Cemetery has been a real driver in that also. It's wonderful for promoting Burlington.
I think they used to have some videos on their website too, and, you know, it's a pretty solemn moment when you watch the citizens put those wreaths on the graves. It's worthwhile to watch the video. If you want to be inspired, do that, then you'll sign up for extra duty. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Okay.
Brittany stole my thunder about the parade. I just wanted to remind people the lighted parade starts at 5, and then the tree and Santa will be at the auditorium. This year, Santa's house is down on the riverfront, so that's great.
Hope he's got good insulation. Linda?
Just a quick reminder, the community Thanksgiving is looking for people to donate pies. So if you're a baker, bake a pie, or if you're not a baker, you can go out and buy a pie, donate it. So, happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yeah, I would echo the thoughts about the holiday parade. It's one of my favorite events. I get to help Santa with the switch. Actually, Santa does it all. I'm just the mouth. But it's a great event, and even when the weather's lousy, we see citizens turn up. And I tell you, after the parade and lighting the tree and people hanging out, if you don't come away with the holiday spirit, I got news for you. You're probably not going to get it. So come down, enjoy it. It's a fantastic event. See your friends and neighbors, and start the holiday off right. Look forward to seeing everybody down there. And with that, I'm ready to get out of here. You guys? Yes, let's go.